Medicinal marijuana continue to unfold, and for one little boy with a rare skin disorder, it's been a near miracle.
Well, as 13 first reported last May, his family was really in the dark. They were desperately seeking some answers. Well, now Darcy Spears shows us how they are seeing the light, all thanks to Cannabis cream.
For Carter Gray, that is the sound of relief.
We just gotta oil up your head.
A massage from mom that means so much more. We first met Carter a year ago. He suffers from lamellar ichthyosis, a rare skin disorder with no cure that causes dark scales where dead skin cells don't flake off. Despite corrective surgery, Carter's skin is so tight he can't even shut his eyes. He's forced to spend most of his time inside, but his family is hoping this—
it's a miracle plant. That's what it is.
Just might change that.
It showed us from the first time that we used it that it was worth continuing to use.
When we first brought you Carter's story, his parents were dealing with industrial-sized vats of coconut oil and making some progress, but nothing like what's contained in these small jars.
Creams made from cannabis oil, an extract of marijuana.
How would you describe your reaction when you realized you'd found something that worked?
I cried a lot. I still cry. I'll be in the bathtub just scrubbing his back and the scales just fall right off into the bathtub.
Carter's grandma makes the creams in her kitchen, giving her grandson a gift no doctor could.
Completely clear, like soft as a newborn.
Take a look at these before and after photos of Carter's back and head.
No scarring, no sign that there was ever even any buildup there at all.
A dermatologist told them,
there is nothing on the market that I could prescribe you that would give you better results than what you're getting.
So how does it work? Dr. Scott Jacobson says cannabis taps into the nature of our own bodies.
The endocannabinoid system is found throughout the body, in the brain, in the immune system, in the nervous system, as well as in the skin. Actually, skin cells have cannabinoid receptors in them. And so putting them on topically, you're going to get that action directly where it's needed.
Dr. Jacobson also says cannabis is known to reduce inflammation.
He's gonna get you.
For Carter and his family,
you get him.
It's a giant leap forward.
Relieved and eager to find out more about what we can do. Yeah.
Since our first report, Carter's story has gone international. We have a lot more about his journey on ktnv.com.
Of somebody who said that they used a cannabis-infused shampoo on their head. And he said that it felt like 30 years of scales just fell off of his head in the shower. So I started looking more into like the actual cannabis oil and the options and how to use it. And then my mom and I, discussed it and started just kind of making our own oil. And then, we made a coconut oil because we were covering him in coconut oil, and we started just slathering him in that still. And then we moved up to like body butters and the petroleum-free aquaphor. And so everything that we do is we just kind of made our own products of what we were already buying, and we just infused them with cannabis oil. And it's just descaled almost his entire body. And it was probably about 3 to 5 days, and all of the redness on his body was gone. So that just kind of pushed us a little bit more, because we were like, okay, we're just going to try a little bit at a time, and if it doesn't work or if we don't see any progress, then we're just going to stop using it, because we didn't know, if it can enter his bloodstream or how it'll affect him or mental development. And so we just kept doing more research, and once we saw how much it reduced the redness, we were just like, we have to do this all over. Like, we have to, slowly build up to covering him in it completely. And so we moved up from like his belly to his back and then his arms, and now we're working on his legs. And it's just, it just started with, hey, it worked for this person, so, you never know what it'll do, maybe,
And this has been a situation for you where there isn't a whole lot of medical help.
Yeah.
In some cases, there just isn't any.
Yeah, even the treatment plans that we've discussed are over-the-counter medications, like the cream amlactin is what they typically use, or they use like a steroid cream. But I used the over-the-counter amlactin, and it burnt him really bad. And so I tried mixing it with aloe vera, and that still burnt him. So I was just like, I couldn't justify myself putting something on him that's burning him. And, you know, then having to cover him in that from head to toe multiple times a day, it just didn't seem like it was something that was realistic as a treatment option for a baby. I mean, when he's older, and if that's something that he would rather do, then that's his choice. But I mean, I couldn't justify it because it was just hard to see him, you know, uncomfortable so that ultimately he will be comfortable. It just didn't sit well with us.
And how would you describe your reaction when you realized you'd found something that worked?
I cried a lot. I still cry. I'll be in the bathtub just scrubbing his back and the scales just fall right off into the bathtub and I'll just cry. I'll call him and I'll be crying and I'll be like, they're just falling off. They're just everywhere. I'm like, it's so gross. There's skin all over the bathtub, but I mean, they literally just fall right off of him.
And you can get to a point with diligent usage where you've got some photos showing clear skin.
Yeah, completely clear. Like soft as a newborn, no scarring, no sign that there was ever even any buildup there at all.
What happens when you run out?
They come back. I mean, they don't come back more aggressively, but they do come back, and they come back really quick. So it's really hard to keep up with the supply enough to, you know, produce as much lotion as he needs to keep him comfortable, because it requires so much of the actual plant product to make the oil, and then it requires so much oil to make the lotion, and it's just kind of a constant battle of finding the right amount of oil to keep him comfortable but not to overuse what we have, because we're limited in, you know, the amount of supplies that we have.
But when it comes to a current definition of modern medicine, using cannabis products is a modern turn.
It's become such a social norm, I think, now, that it's becoming much more widely accepted. And I think that, especially when dealing with kids, CBD is non-psychoactive, and it is, you know, it's not going to get them high, and it's not going to affect their actual development. And especially with topicals, it doesn't enter the bloodstream because it doesn't enter past the dermal layer. So we've done lots of research to make sure that what we were doing wasn't going to affect him long-term in any kind of negative way. And so, I mean, it's non-toxic. It is completely chemical-free. It's organic. It's 100% natural. I mean, he could get it into his mouth and it wouldn't harm him. I mean, there's just so many different things compared to him being slathered in all of these other chemical-based creams that if he gets it in his eyes or his mouth, we have to call poison control, because, you know, babies, they like to rub their face, and especially with him, he still itches. So when he scratches his head and then rubs his eyes, it's not going to, you know, have any negative impacts on him. So I think that was like our biggest thing, was that we didn't want to put anything on him that was going to hurt him in order to keep him comfortable.